Hello all you Pixel people, I am Pixel and welcome to episode 2 of Dirty Talk. Now before I go any further, I want to quickly address a few comments that a few people made on the previous video where I spoke about the medics and the balance in Dirty Bomb. It seems that even though I did try and put an awful lot of effort into explaining my issue, that I did also fail horribly, and I have to apologise for that. So over the next couple of days I am going to be trying to make a second video about the medics and hopefully improve in getting my point across. But with that out of the way, what I want to talk to you guys about today is Phantom. A few weeks ago we saw his release and we also saw the community backlash, with people all over Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and even Dirty Bomb forums all proclaiming just how overpowered he was and demanding that he be nerfed. A couple of weeks later, Splash Damage did oblige with what has got to be one of the biggest nerfs that I have ever seen in Dirty Bomb, and for those of you that think that I may be exaggerating, I'm going to go over some of those changes now. They lowered his HP down to 110 from 120, they increased his refractive armor recharge time to 10 seconds all the way from 6, and they changed it so that when you take damage which exceeds your refractive armor's energy, the remaining damage will eat into your general health pool. They also made it so you are far more visible while moving around at the same time as being cloaked, and they made the going in and coming out of cloak sound much louder so you're much easier to be able to hear from other players. They slightly nerfed his two strongest SMGs being the Kek 10 and the Krotsny. Oh, and they also made it so you now move slower when you've got the Katana equipped. They added a melee turn speed limit, which the majority of the players have already vocally shouted out about, and I for one absolutely hate it. And finally they nerfed the chopper augment to increase the number of swipes that it would take to kill certain mercs. So hopefully we can all agree that the nerf was pretty damn huge, but don't get me wrong here, if he needed that nerf then everything's all good, right? But the question that I do need to ask is, was he really even overpowered in the first place? I mean, the community seems to be very vocal that he was, and I did go and see him get some decent scores in public servers, but honestly I don't think it is nearly as simple as it seems. I mean, during the first 2 weeks before the nerf we had a very active pub community and lots of competitive teams all attempting to integrate a Phantom into the competitive meta, and they was all met with very lackluster results. Because sure, he may have more combat potential than a Sawbones, but then you lose your healer and you're not going to get any revives, and while you may think that he could take over the role of a Skyhammer, you would certainly notice the lack of ammo, and then you definitely need a field ops to be able to take out the EVs on Chapel and Bridge. Obviously a fragger is a fragger and his nades are far too valuable to give up in the current meta, so you're out of luck there, and obviously engineers are able to repair and defuse and build stuff so much quicker, so there's no slot there either. What I'm really trying to get at, guys, is there is really no place for him in a competitive lineup, and his killing potential still does not supersede that of a nader, a sniper, a fragger or even a Kira. When I myself played Phantom in public, I struggled to stack up them XP and them kills quite as high as what I would have managed to do with almost any other merc. I suppose what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is I honestly don't believe that he was in fact overpowered, and at least not to the point where he deserved that nuking that he received. Now, I'm going to make a quick little side point now before proceeding, and that is that Phantom is one of the first mercs to really try and break away from that 5-class structure. However, I believe it was done in totally the wrong way. I don't believe that you can simply remove all the other class aspects and expect something to still be viable. Moving forward, I hope that we do see future mercs take aspects from multiple class roles rather than ignoring them completely. There is really no problem in my mind with having a merc that can both give ammo and drop health, or even a weak merc which has got the ability to dish out really strong AoE damage and spot enemies. I mean, regardless of how much Splash Damage claim that they want to move away from this class-based structure, there is no denying that the game is currently built around it, and because of this, the team comps are also built around it. And for the most part, this means that if you actually remove the utility from any character, just like has happened with Phantom, it really feels out of place in almost any team composition, and this really needs to be avoided when we go forward. Anyway, back on topic, kind of at least. In gaming, there is a new buzz term floating around which is called Counterplay, and I will leave an annotation on the screen now that'll take you to a great video on the topic, and I will also leave a link to it in the description bar below so that you can watch it if you prefer to watch this video first. Now, the core concept of Counterplay is designing mechanics not only from the perspective of the person using them, but also from the perspective of the person that they are being used upon. Now, for instance, Aura's healing station makes friendly players fighting in the area of effect very strong. However, its very existence creates interesting gameplay for the players that are playing against it also. All of a sudden you have many choices of whether you want to engage the play or go for a flank, maybe focus the healing station itself, or simply avoid it altogether. While the player that's playing against it is maybe not having what you describe as fun, it does make the situation more interesting than it would be if it was not there in the first place, and that can result in more engaging gameplay. For the most part, this is classed as good counterplay. Then on the other hand, we've got Fragger's Grenade. Now when you're playing as a Fragger, you can cook up them beauties for a couple of seconds and let them rip and watch 2 or 3 enemies just blow up into tiny little pieces and you're having a blast. However, the players that just died to it are more than likely feeling like they had no opportunity to react, and this can lead them to believe, because there was nothing that could be done about what just happened, that the frag grenade itself is overpowered, and they will certainly feel some frustration with it. This, for the most part, is an example of very poor counterplay. And I believe that Phantom falls into the exact same pitholes as Fragger's Grenades, because dying to a guy that can one-shot you with a katana while invisible from behind or even rushing towards you with a shield can be a very frustrating experience. Of course it feels completely broken, he leaves you feeling completely helpless. This does not, however, mean that he is overpowered. We just need to accept that real balance and perceived balance are 2 completely different things in this case. And by treating Phantom's poorly designed mechanic as a balance issue, we have actually strong-armed splash damage into making him almost completely non-viable. The real issue here revolved around just how easy he was to do well with as a lower skill player. Basically, his skill in to power out ratio was a little bit out of whack, and he did feel really frustrating to die to. The real reason why people have stopped complaining about him is simply because you nerfed him to a point where lower skill players no longer find him that easy to use. However, when you actually put him in the hands of a decent player, the complaints are exactly the same as they always were. Phantom is in a really strange situation right now where no amount of tweaking values up or down is likely going to make any difference whatsoever. As long as you can still kill somebody with 1 hit while invisible, from behind, or even charging straight at them, it is unlikely people will accept that he is balanced. At least not until he is so far away from viability that you basically turn him into a silly troll merc that people just play around with. The reason why I feel so strongly about this is because what happens here with Phantom could very well affect the future direction that we see splash damage take Dirty Bomb. As long as mercs that are actually fairly unique continue to get the whole community up in arms, we can expect to see less unique mercs in future. I also think that splash damage do need to hold up their hands and accept some of the blame for this one. Phantom's mechanics are the problem here, not the balance. I urge Splash Damage to take a good hard look at ways to improve this merc in ways that could bring him up to the point where he is viable competitively, at the same time as being less frustrating to die to and being better balanced on the lower end of the skill curve. Until this happens, Phantom is going to remain a bottom tier merc surrounded with so much potential that I personally feel it would be a huge shame to miss out on. What I hope that the community can take from this video and the situation in general is that before you call something overpowered, guys, make sure you take a closer look into the reasons why you feel that way. You never know, you could actually be looking at a broken mechanic that no amount of numerical tweaking could save. Anyway guys, once again, this is going to be me done for today. Please do leave your thoughts in the comment section below about the whole Phantom malarkey business and all that kind of jazz. And as always, remember to like the video if you like the video, and you can always slap that subscribe button for some more PC gaming goodness. I have been Pixel, thank you for spending your time watching this video, and until next time, bye bye.